Your obsession with like dying for something or leaving behind some great sign of your heroism or whatever. It's just weird. Everyone wants to lead an extraordinary life. Not everyone, I said, unable to disguise my annoyance. Are you mad? It's just, I said, and then couldn't finish my sentence. Just, I said again. Between us flickered the candle. It's really mean of you to say that the only lives that matter are the ones that are lived for something or die for something. That's a really mean thing to say to me. I felt like a little kid for some reason, and I took a bite of dessert to make it appear like it was not a big a deal to me. Sorry, he said. I didn't mean it like that. I was just thinking about myself. Yeah, you were, I said. I was too full of finish. I worried I might puke. Actually, because I often puked after eating. Not bulimia, just cancer. I pushed my dessert plate toward Gus, but he shook his head. I'm sorry, he said again, reaching across the table for my hand. I let him take it. I could be worse, you know. How? I asked, teasing. I mean, I have a work of calligraphy over my toilet that reads, bathe yourself daily in the comfort of God's words. Hazel, I could be way worse. Sounds unsanitary. I said, I could be worse. You could be worse. I smiled. You really did like me. Maybe I was a narcissist or something. But when I realized it there in that moment at Orange, it made me like him even more. When our waiter appeared to take dessert away, he said, your meal has been paid for by Mr. Peter Van Houten. Augustus smiled. This Peter Van Houten fellow ain't half bad. We walked along the canal as it got dark. A block up from Orange, we stopped at a park bench surrounded by old rusty bicycles locked to bike racks and to each other. We sat down hip to hip facing the canal, and he put his arm around me. I could see the halo of light coming from the red light district. Even though it was the red light district, the glow coming from up there was an eerie sort of green. I imagined thousands of tourists getting drunk and stoned and pinballing around the narrow streets. I can't believe he's gonna tell us tomorrow, I said. Peter Van Houten is gonna tell us the famously unwritten end of the best book ever. Plus, he paid for our dinner. Augustus said, I keep imagining that he's gonna search us for recording devices before he tells us. And then he will sit down between us on the couch in his living room and whisper whether Anna's mom married the Dutch tulip man. Don't forget Sisyphus the hamster, Augustus added. Right, and also of course what fate awaited Sisyphus the hamster. I leaned forward to see into the column. There were so many of those pale petals in the corners. It was ridiculous. A secret that would exist just for us, I said. So what's your guess? He asked. I really don't know. I've gone back and forth like 1,000 times about it all. Each time I reread it. I think something different, you know? He nodded. You have a theory? Yeah, I don't think the Dutch tulip man is a con man. But he's also not rich like he leaves them to live. And I think after Anna dies, Anna's mom goes to Holland with him and thinks they will live there forever. But it doesn't work out because she wants to be near where her daughter was. I hadn't realized he thought about the book so much that an imperial affliction mattered to Gus independently of me mattering to him. The water lapped quietly at the stone canal were beneath us. A group of friends biked past in a clump, shouting over each other in rapid fire. Gotterer Dutch. The tiny boat, not much longer than me, half drowned in the canal. The smell of water that had stood too still for too long. His arm pulling me, his real leg against my real leg all the way from hip to foot. I leaned into his body a little. He winced. Sir, you okay? He breathed out. He breathed out. He breathed out. Oh yeah, in obvious pain. Sorry, I said, bony shoulder. It's okay, he said. Nice, actually. We sat there for a long time. Eventually, his hand abandoned my shoulder and rested against the back of the park bench. Mostly, we just stared into the commune. I was thinking a lot about how they'd made this place exist even though it should have been underwater, and how I was for Dr. Maria a kind of Amsterdam, a half-drowned anomaly, and that made me think about dying. Can I ask you about Caroline Mathers? And you say there's no afterlife. He answered without looking at me. But yeah, of course. What do you want to know? I wanted to know that he'd be okay if I died. I wanted to not be a grenade, to not be a malevolent force in the lives of people I loved. Just like what happened. He sighed, exhaling for so long that to my cracked lungs it seemed like he was bragging. He popped a fresh cigarette into his mouth. You know how there is famously no place less played in than a hospital playground? I nodded.